Hey everybody, Nancy Hart, Whole Heart Evolution here, your transformational life coach with our midweek tune-up, and that means it must be Wednesday, yeah? I found myself last night in a really kind of wonderful conversation with some friends and colleagues that I wanted to share with you today. And it's this concept of clumsy, kind of being awkward. When I think of clumsy, I think of the old Dick Van Dyke show where his physical humor, he was just kind of falling all over himself. He was tripping. He kind of didn't know where to put one foot in front of the other. And as I was thinking about that, I was reminded of high school. Now, for me, that's been a few years. For some of you who may be watching that, that could have been maybe not so long ago, let's just say. But I was thinking about it not only in terms of high school, but what does that mean for us today? As I was recalling high school, or those years for those who are overseas, who for us, for roughly 14, 15 years of age to say 17 or 18, those incredibly transformational years where maybe we're just learning how to shave for the first time. Perhaps we're learning to drive a car. Ooh, that was a big thing here in the US. Man, 16 years old, give me my driver's license. Let's go. We'll talk about that in a minute. It could be putting on for someone lipstick for the first time. And I know for me, and this is going to date me just a little bit, but I remember one of my most clumsy, uncomfortable moments was the first time I put a pair of platform shoes on. Now, for those who may not have seen platform shoes, think the stilettos of today, but they were really chunky heels and the foot pad was really chunky. So not only were you going up really high, you were clumping, but if you're like me, your ankles were doing wobble, 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 wobble. And oh dear Lord, the last thing I wanted was just like fall over or trip on something and look like a goober in front of my friends. Because, yeah, it's all about how do we look in front of our friends, right? And, well, I think about things like I love to dance, but let's just say as an art form, my inner dancer didn't completely hardwire to my outer dancer, let's just say. And it's just moments like that where we felt kind of awkward and, oh my gosh, is anybody looking, right? And it came often when we were trying new things on. The car's a perfect example. Hey, for many of us, particularly here in the US, we were ready to, let's go. The minute we could get our license and have that sense of freedom, all right. But what we had to get through was not only a written test, but we had to get through a practical test. We were actually driving a car for somebody. Now, there's one thing about the idea of getting behind the wheel of a car, and there's a whole another experience the first time you have responsibility for that. And I don't know about you, but for me, it was, okay, I'm getting in the driver's seat. I'm kind of trying to figure out, do my, feet reach the pedals? Where my hands go on the wheel? Holy Toledo, I got my instructor on one side of me and three of my buds in the back seat, and I'm going to look like an idiot. And here I am controlling this very big thing, right? That was a leap of faith. And it took a while to establish a rhythm, to become comfortable, to do enough reps inside a car, checking your mirrors, 12 and 2, which is where we used to put our hands, all that sort of thing before we made a move, before we put our foot down on the pedal. It's a long-winded way of saying it took reps to get there. Yeah. It's interesting. I found myself in situations lately, particularly now, where I have felt clumsy, that level of clumsy like I felt when I was a kid. And what do we do with that as an adult? What I hope we do is give ourselves a little piece of compassion and a little bit of breathing room. And hopefully, now that we've grown up a bit and we understand that clumsy is only a state of being for a period of time, and that if we choose to get back up and do it again and do it again and do it again, it becomes much more natural. It's being willing and allowing ourselves to be a little bit vulnerable, and vulnerable in the service of our growth. And isn't that kind of a magical thing? Back in high school, back when we were young and were terrified of what other people would think. And who knows, maybe we still are now. Some of us are, or we have moments of that. I'm going into a new job, or I'm trying on a new sport. I'm walking into the gym for the first time in ages. And is anybody going to notice if my leotard's not quite, my leggings aren't quite right? Things like that. If we're trying on something new, are we allowing ourselves, here's the deal, are we allowing ourselves the moments to be sort of clumsy? And can we take it in a much more lighthearted way? Can we be vulnerable enough to allow ourselves to experience that, laugh it off, maybe ask some well-pointed questions, be prepared to look a little silly the first time, I get some pap shoes back on and making the feet go, because it's great exercise, right? Are we willing to allow for that in the service of our growth? You know something? It's okay to be clumsy. Clumsy never leaves us. Clumsy is truly a sign of growth in our lives. So my call to action for you this week, notice where you might be feeling a little bit clumsy. Maybe it's a new program you're learning for work, or something Canva, you're learning to create something for, one of your kids or a friend who's having a party. Maybe it could be a new sport that you're taking on. You're learning how to play tennis again after forever off of the court. And the ball, the swing and the ball aren't quite happening the way you're used to. Or maybe you're taking dancing back up and you got to get your dance shoes back on and get that muscle memory going again. Or you're challenging yourself to think and be in a new way. And it may feel a little awkward. It may feel a little bit clumsy. Give yourself the gift. Let's give ourselves the gift this week of feeling clumsy and watch what it does for us to accelerate our growth, connect us to others, and kind of get us past that moment where we're falling out of our platform shoes. Because we know as grown-ups, it's okay. Everybody, enjoy those shoes. Feel clumsy. Have your moment. That's great. I just can't wait to hear what your clumsy moments are and what you did with them. Let me know. I'd love to hear. That's it for now. We'll see you next week. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.